A rising tide lifts all boats. If folks were more receptive to it, even more moments would have arrived. By the way, not only was viewership down, but attendance was as well.
Let's get into it. The sharp decline in WNBA ratings ever since Caitlin Clark was eliminated from the playoffs. Are the woke players the reason the league is struggling? Or is it something else? Let me tell you right now, this isn't about race, it's about the product. Caitlin Clark is box office and the numbers don't lie. So let's break it down. Caitlin Clark is the face of the WNBA, whether some people like it or not. She's more than just a player. She's a once-in-a-generation talent that has single-handedly boosted WNBA ratings, ticket sales, and overall attention to the league. When Clark steps on the court, people watch. Period. Look at the numbers. Clark's debut playoff game against the Connecticut Sun drew 1.84 million viewers. Game 2, a staggering 2.5 million viewers, peaking at 3.4 million. Now, compare that to the semifinal games after she was eliminated. The New York Liberty versus Las Vegas Aces, two of the biggest teams in the league and in the biggest markets, only brought in 929,000 viewers. That's a 50% drop. Clark's presence made every game an event. So, what happens when Caitlin Clark isn't in the mix? Well, the numbers speak for themselves. WNBA playoff viewership plummeted without her. We saw 929,000 for Aces versus Liberty, and Sun versus Lynx pulled in just 650,000.
Do you want me to just say I told you so, or are you willing to say, Stephen A., you did tell us? Really? Caitlin Clark is the golden goose. Not most, not all, but some people spent some time resenting her for it. Cheryl Swoops was one of those people. You want to give shine, you want to give love to others other than her. Just say what you truly feel.
That is nothing compared to the millions Clark was drawing. It's like taking a primetime blockbuster and replacing it with a midday rerun. The energy, the excitement, the buzz, it just wasn't there without her. This isn't a hit on the rest of the league players, but it does highlight, however, something. Caitlin Clark is the product. When she's not on the court, fans simply tune out. And honestly, it's not hard to see why. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Are woke players to blame for this ratings drop? Some folks are quick to point fingers, saying fans have tuned out because of political stances or social commentary by certain players. But let's get real here. This is about the product, not politics. Caitlin Clark is enjoying millions of viewers because of her stance on any social issues. She's drawing them because she's an electric player who can take over a game like nobody else in the league. She's must-watch TV. Now, let's look at Game 4 of this year's semifinal attendance. Liberty versus Aces, 10,374. Lynx versus Sun, 7,849. Wow. That's a huge dip in attendance when you compare it to 18 to 20,000, right? If my math is right, the attendance of both games would roughly equal one regular season game featuring Caitlin Clark. Here's another angle that's worth discussing. We can't ignore the fact that there's a bit of tension within the league itself. Remember when Charles Barkley called out WNBA players for being petty towards Caitlin Clark? He wasn't wrong. There is an underlying sense of jealousy, and it's not hard to see why. Clark is getting the kind of attention that WNBA legends like Cheryl Swoops, Diana Taurasi, and Sue Bird never received. And that stings for some players.
And there are very, very few people, but there are some out there who resent the fact that this young white girl came out there and did her thing. Rookie of the year, 4th in the league for MVP voting, assist leader, one of the top leading scorers after the Olympic Games. She put on a show, validating all the attention she was receiving.
But let's be clear. Clark's rise doesn't diminish the greatness of those players. She's just built different. Even Sue Bird, one of the greatest to ever play in the WNBA, admitted that Clark is one of one. That kind of recognition doesn't come lightly. And if NBA legends like Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron James, and Steph Curry are showing Clark love, it's for a reason. She's transcending the sport, and that's something the WNBA desperately needs right now. Here's the biggest issue. The WNBA is missing a golden opportunity. Instead of rallying behind Caitlin Clark and fully embracing the superstar she is, there seems to be a bit of hesitation. It's like that story about the guy stuck on the roof during a flood. He prays for help, and when a helicopter show up, he turns them down, saying, he's waiting for God to save him. Well, Caitlin Clark is the boat and the helicopter that WNBA has been praying for. She's the star they needed, and yet, instead of lifting her up, the league seems to be holding back. Let's shift gears and talk business. The WNBA has been fighting for years to get more media attention, more fans in the stands, and higher pay for its players. And guess what? Caitlin Clark delivered all of that this year. WNBA games featuring Clark were drawing record crowds, over 20,000 fans at multiple games. Merchandise sales skyrocketed. And even the WNBA draft, where Clark was the number one pick, had over 2 million viewers. That's unheard of. 2 million viewers. Now remember, semifinal game, 929,000. Draft, 2 million viewers. You do the math. Now check this out. Clark is looking out for all players in the WNBA. Listen to what Allison Barber, the outgoing Fever president, had to say about what Clark was doing behind closed doors.
A team in Atlanta has their own facility arena, and they use their NBA arena when we came to town because they could sell it out. And since it's off the record, here's all you need to know about Caitlin Clark. When we would go to away games, they always sold out. Unbelievable. So Atlanta would normally have 3,000, 4,000 people. Now they have 17,000 people, and they sold 1,000 standing room only tickets. So when we walked into the arena, people were on that third balcony looking down at the tops of our players' heads to watch. I mean, it's really hard to take in. After a few away games and all of the sellouts, Caitlin asked the WNBA if they would pay spot bonuses to the away team players. She said, wow, we're making all this new revenue, and I would like the away team to benefit from that. Could they get a spot bonus? So that's the heart of Caitlin Clark. I mean, that's a classy, amazing person.
So, but it's absolutely.
The answer was no, by the way, because it's a collective bargaining agreement.
This isn't about race. This is about business. The league has finally found a player who can bring in millions of new fans, boost ticket sales, and increase TV ratings. But instead of celebrating that, some players and media figures are downplaying her impact. Why?
I still contend Caitlin Clark should have been on Team USA. Imagine the international, the global audience that would have followed her. But folks missed it because of feelings.
Because they feel like it overshadows the work they've put in for years. But here's the harsh truth. It's not about the past. It's about what's happening right now. And right now, Caitlin Clark is the driving force behind WNBA's gains. Let's get back to the numbers because, as they say, the numbers don't lie. Without Caitlin Clark, WNBA playoff games are barely cracking 1 million viewers. Clark's games, they were consistently pulling in 1.8 million, with some peaking at 3 million. That's not a small bump in viewership. It's a seismic shift. The Fever's regular season game against the Lynx pulled in 1.26 million viewers, more than almost any playoff game this year without Clark. The WNBA hasn't seen these kinds of numbers before, and they need to stop pretending that it's business as usual. One of Clark's playoff games even had higher ticket prices than last year's WNBA finals. Let's look at game one. The least expensive ticket was $95. The most expensive ticket, $3,600. Game two, the least expensive ticket, $83. The most expensive ticket, $4,645. That's how big of a deal she is. So what's the bottom line here? Well, the WNBA needs to wake up and realize what they have in Caitlin Clark. She's the face of the league, and without her, viewership, ticket sales, and overall interest drop like a rock on its way to the bottom of a pond. This isn't about woke players, race, or any other distraction. It's about business. And right now, Caitlin Clark is the best business the WNBA has ever had. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Is Caitlin Clark the key to the WNBA's future, or is the league missing the point? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more hot takes and sports insights. Remember, it's not about politics. It's about the product. And right now, Caitlin Clark is the product. Let's see if they realize it before it's too late. Until next time, keep balling.